Captain Ibrahim Traore.
Ibrahim Traore.
Ibrahim Traore.
Ibrahim Traore.
Burkina Faso's young revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, just delivered a bold message to the most powerful country in the world. And it is something the new elected president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, never saw this coming. With Washington expecting the usual compliance of Africans, Traore, alongside with the leader of Mali, Niger, they have changed things around this time. As we all know that for years, the US with its allies, they've been controlling the mineral resources from the African continent. This Western power detected their African policies, getting involved in Africa politics and organizing different military coups all over Africa continent in order for them to put someone who will be at their service. Until Ibrahim Traore come and waken up the entire Sahel region. Oh yes, the Sahel had it enough. These leaders are not asking for their independence, but they are taking it on their own terms. Now, the big question is, how will Donald Trump react? Number one, the Western eras in Africa continent, it is gambling. For decades, the US with France treated Africa like business investment. Financial aids comes with restrictions. Military support never come to protect African nations, but it was all about controlling Africans. Nothing was for free because Western corporation in Africa continent walk away with gold of Africa, uranium and lithium. While local economies struggle, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger have finally closed that door on that arrangement. No more French troops, no more US military base, no more the accepting of deals which left the people of Africa without nothing. They are doing all this because of failed promises. These leaders are tired as much all Africans are tired of the Western, and they don't want to be having false hope on what the Western had to promise. Western intervention in the Sahel, whether through France, Bahrain or US military operations, which is supposed to be fighting the terrorism, instead it makes things even more worse. Extremely, groups grow even more stronger, and African leaders end up realizing that they were just being grilled in the geopoliticals of the Western. Now, Ibrahim Traore with his allies make this big move which the Western, especially the USA, they've been scrambling for all this time. Point number two, Ibrahim Traore. When Ibrahim Traore took the control of Burkina Faso in 2022, many people underestimated him. People were saying, how can a young fiery military officer leading a nation in the crisis? The West expected him to fall on the line, but unfortunately, instead of him failing, he ended up turning things around. And one of his first moves was to expel the French troops, and he did this to give them a clear message, which was, you failed to protect us from the terrorists. Now we are doing it on our own because we need to protect ourselves from now on. Then he came up with the economic shift. Burkina Faso's natural resources was being drained by the foreigners companies. These companies, which belongs to the Westerns, which had left the people of Burkina Faso with a little benefit from their own natural resources. Captain Ibrahim Traore said enough, it is enough. He began to nationalize all the natural resources which this Western they were taking away from the people of Burkina Faso. This made him to be in control of the national gold and other key industries. Let us open a bracket and try to talk about his alliances. While the Western expected for people of Burkina Faso to depend on them because they thought they won't be able to survive for that longer without the help of the US and France, well, Traore decided to take another road that led him straight to Russia, which helped him to make weapon deals and military training to Russia. This ended up proving that Burkina Faso, they have found themselves a brand new and good partner that they've been looking for all this time. All this deal which Ibrahim Traore had with Russia left Washington not just watching, but Washington was panicking. Point number three, the relationship between Burkina Faso and Mali. Assimi Goïta, Mali's colonel. This man, He has just as bold since 2021. Oh yes, because he have make it even more clear saying that Mali will never gonna be the puppet of the Western. Do you want to know what was his biggest move? Of course it was when he decided to expel the French militaries. We all know that the French, they have been in Mali for decades, claiming to say that they are there to fight terrorism, isn't it? But when Assimi took over, he ended up realizing that their presence in Mali was not doing them anything good, but it was to harm people of Mali. Without wasting his time, he sent them packing their belongings so that they can go back to their country. He also banned all the Western funding ONG because many of these organizations, they were seen as tools that the Western they were using in order for them to infiltrate in the Mali's politics. All these organizations, they were there to promote the policies that benefit only the Western, which is the US and France, instead of Malians. Goita put an end to all this, bringing Russian militaries just like Traore did. Assimi turned to Russia his war guns for military support. With the Western out, Russia became the Mali's military support in order for them to fight these so-called terrorists. The take point here was that Mali want to send a strong message to the Western by reminding them that our sovereignty comes first before anything. And just like in Burkina Faso, the people supported it. Point number 4. Niger's Abdul Jani exposed the West. Then come Niger, shocking turn. This country had the biggest US military base in Sahel region to fight the terrorism. But comes in 2023, Niger have done it all. When General Abdul Chani took power, his government wasted no time in exposing what they have saw as the exploitation of their minerals and the unfair treatment by the United States of America. One of the biggest bombshell which the government of China have dropped was when the USA they were paying about 63 million US dollar to maintain these military bases over there in Niger. While the government of Niger, they were not receiving nothing for hosting American troops. This was not just an oversight. It was a clear example of how Washington had taken Niger. So they were actually expecting compliance without compensation. Just imagine that. For Chani, this was unacceptable because you know what he did? He ordered his administrations to ask for answers. But guess what they did? They only found frustrations. And this ended up raising the anger of this military government of Chani because his anger went far beyond just financial. Because his government revealed that US military cooperation in Niger, it had been carried out without a proper legal agreement. This US military cooperation, it was effectively ignoring the Nigerian sovereignty, despite them being in the region to fight terrorism. These USA militaries refused to share vital information with the government of Niger on their own soil. No wonder why all these terrorists never get to finish. And this end up leaving people wondering on which interest they are pretending to serve. What was even more surprised was when they have to charge Nigeria to pay for the US aircraft, meaning the country was paying for its own exploitations. Another interesting part which revolted this military government to have this kind of anger toward the USA. It is for the fact that they were getting involved in the local politics which concern only people of Niger. The US did not only bring their military base in Niger, but they also get to interfere in Niger foreign policies. They get to choose and decide who they have to place for a certain kind of a position or for a certain kind of a deal which the government of Niger have to deal with other sovereign countries out there. Now, with all this being said, for a leader who wants to gain back the sovereignty of their country, well, this was the only rightful turn which they're supposed to make. And this man, Chani, he have done his responsible duty as a man who want to claim the sovereignty of his country. We then saw how he declared for all the US troops to leave Niger.
US military kicked out of Niger in humiliating exit. In a humiliating turn of events, the US military has been unceremoniously kicked out of Niger. This committee is a clear sign of the disarray and incompetence that has plagued the US mission. Niger's decision to end its partnership with the US was a direct response to Washington's condescending attitude and threats of reprisals, as pointed out by military spokesperson Colonel Amadou Abdramane in March. This scathing criticism of US diplomacy and military strategy in the region further underscores the complete and utter failure of American efforts.
Guys, this was a very big slap which the government of Niger have given to Washington. US losing Niger, it is not something which they took it lightly, because losing a country such as Niger in the Sahel region, it is kind of like losing a big battle in this region which the Western, they have been looting and stealing a lot from these African brothers and sisters. For the first time in the history, the USA, they were being kicked out, not by military forces, but by a government who have said, no, enough, it is enough. We are not going to continue to be again your puppet. We are not going to let you in order for you to tell us what to do with our mineral resources, with our geopolitics. Now, why does this matter for the future of Africa? Guys, the revolutionary which is happening in Sahel region, it is not all about 3 countries, but it is a part of the large movement which is taking place right now in Africa continent. For centuries, the West detected Africa's future, shaping its economy and the military strategies in order for them to protect their own interest. But now, the new wave of new leadership, which is full of young people and so talented, they are changing things around. And these leaders, they are so determined to put their sovereignty above before the foreigners' dictatorship influencing their countries, and the Sahel regions, they are in front line to show this fine example for the rest of African countries. These leaders, they are showing a way out for the whole Africa continent to follow and get to liberate themselves once for all against the West. Africa is the world's most valuable mineral resources that help the Western. From energy to technology, Africa have it all. For decades, Western corporations in Africa continent have control over all these assets. They've been taking it all without leaving Africans with even something small that they can put also on their table. This is now changing with leaders such as Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goïta, and Abdul Chani. They are taking a step to say that Africa should benefit first from their own natural resources. They are trying to make the economy of Africa become even more independent. This foreigner head has been often presented as an African help, but in the reality, it comes with a lot of rules and stricts attached to it. For example, like foreign policies and agreements that always save the Western first. And if you fail to apply these agreements, they'll come hard on you. We have countries such as Uganda, when President Yoweri Museveni refused to sign the gay marriage bill. Recently, South Africa ads being cut by Donald Trump, all because they believe the land which belongs to South Africans should not go back to the South Africans, but should remain in the hands of these white minorities. That is the price which these Western ads comes with. So this is the reason why the leader of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger rejecting these things once for all. They see these aids as a tool of control rather than a genuine support. And they are choosing instead to seek partnership that respect their sovereignty. The other strategies which the Western have been using for years to bring their influence in Africa continent through their military bases, it is now also falling apart. For example, France, which was the stronghold of the Western influence on Africa continent, it has been kicked out by Burkina Faso and Mali. Now, it is the US military base which is being kicked recently in Niger. The era of the Western dominant military base in Africa, now it is failing. Because the reality here is that Africans, they are now deciding to stand for their own sovereignty. These Africans, they are no longer wanting to depend on the foreign forces, which was there not to save them, but to laugh at them loud. And this is just the beginning, because the Sahel regions dealing with these Western countries, it was a strong message which they have sent to the entire Africa continent. Now that as we are talking, did you know that Kenya and Ethiopia, they have joined this Sahel region organization, and they are planning to have their own new currency. Oh yes, they are also planning to set a free visa for all the Africans who will visit these countries. Did you know about that? I doubt. Did you also know that Ibrahim Traore with Burkina Faso, they have just removed themselves out of this so-called Francophonie, which is the French-speaking country organizations which France have dominated over there for so many years. They have removed all their friendship with this organization. Did you know about that? Of course, I doubt. So, this is a sign of showing that it is actually possible for you to break free from your former colonies, because many countries, many people, many Africans all over around the world, they are watching. And if things have to continue this way, guys, I promise you, Africa will change things around. Africa economy, it will rise again. Africa will be able to get to start developing its own country. Africa will fight against the unemployment numbers and all this sickness which this West, they've been coming in Africa with an excuse of giving the aids, saying that we are here to help you, but they are here to benefit from Africa continent. Now, how would Donald Trump respond to this revolutionary movement which is taking in Africa right now? As you all know that since Donald Trump entered the White House, things have not been the same anymore, because Donald Trump in the White House, it had actually changed everything for the relationship which the US have with Africa continent. As you all know, Trump always put America first.
America first. America first. America first.
It's not like Joe Biden, who was interfering even more in Africa politics. But as for Donald Trump, he does not care whether Africans died or not, whether there's a war in Africa or not. And it is with this kind of behaviors that is even giving a very big green light to all the African countries, in order for them to understand that the moment, the time is right now more than ever. Donald Trump is doing whatever he's doing toward people of Africa with their government right now, thinking that he's punishing Africa, but actually is pressing that button, that one only button, which Africans, they've been waiting for them to activate this revolutionary movement to take place all over Africa continent. Do you know why? Let me explain. Because Donald Trump comes in Africa and cut this USAID, thinking that okay, for them it is done. But this is something which many of African leaders, they've been waiting for, because there is nothing that comes good from this USAID ads which the US, they've been giving to Africans. As I just explained not long ago, that they give you these ads with some restrictions to it, with some conditions to it. They'll tell you what to do and what not to do. And if you try to disobey them, trust me, they'll come hard on you. Not only by them cutting these ads, but they'll make sure that they destroy your economy. They bring even more instability in your country, so that you go back to them and bow on your knees and seeking for their help. And this is the kind of the things which a lot of African leaders, they were tired already. And seeing Donald Trump coming forward and saying that, okay guys, that is it, I'm going to cut this. Well, it was a very green light which many leaders, they've been waiting for. And seeing countries such as Burkina Faso with Captain Ibrahim Traore, Niger with China, and Mali all these Sahel regions, they have set a fine example by saying that no, there's nothing which is not impossible when it comes for you to claim your own sovereignty. No one can come and tell you something, because even Ibrahim Traore had to say it even more louder, saying that now we are more free to do things as we wish. No one will tell us what to do. Do you know what does that mean? That is a sign of showing that now we can breathe, because we are on our own, because no one is tightening our hands, no one is blinding our eyes. We can see everything we do. We are ready to assume our own responsibility, and that is what everyone needed to do. What a fine example that we can take from this 37 years old Ibrahim Traore, that he has shown to these other Sahel leaders who are following up also the step. This is something that each and every African leader should follow. What are they waiting for? Because people of Africa, this is what they want. So if you want you also to be celebrated tomorrow like Ibrahim Traore and these Sahel leaders, then you know what to do, because the example, the road is being out there already. You just have to enter in the road and follow the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, who have shown this fine good example that all of us, we need to be followed, especially our leaders, because they're the one who always mess up. That is it, guys. Feel free to drop us your comment in the comment section. Tell us also, what do you think about the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore and these Sahel region leaders who have that courage to stand against the Western mafias, to say no to the influence of the Western, which they have been putting in place for many years through their military base, claiming to say that we are here to help you fight the terrorists, which until today they failed to finish these all terrorist groups that we get to see all over the Sahel region. But this military government, as they came in, they are fighting these terrorists toe to toe. They are showing them serious flames, and they are winning this battle. Tell us also what you think about this Sahel regional leaders, government, or should I say, they decided to stop their friendship with the US and France and this other Western country in order for them to go and have friendship with the government of the Great Republic of Russia under the leadership of Vladimir Putin. So it is very important that we have this conversation with you. But otherwise, don't leave this video. Give us your thumbs, like it in your numbers. We'll really do appreciate that. We're looking forward to see you again in our next video. I believe that to be all for now. Continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.